Asian Star Radio, another very warm welcome going out to each and every one of you. Welcome to the program. It's Mix Nation, the hottest mix show across the capital. I go by the name of DJ Haashim. Yes, I'm back again. And yeah, we're back with another massive, legendary interview for you guys to listen to today and to also watch if you're watching this on the YouTube channel. But of course, very much would like to welcome to the program for the very first time. He's an infamous household name for the Bhangra music industry. He's a powerhouse in his own right and a complete legend. I would like to welcome to the program today, Bally Sagoo. Welcome, bro.
What's up, man? How you doing? Really nice intro. Thanks for that. It's a perfect intro. I like it.
Thank you, bro. I thought, you know what, I had to give you the introduction you do deserve, man.
That was nice, man. That was nice. Very, very sweet of you, man. Cool.
How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Obviously stuck in a lockdown in Birmingham, like everybody else is, waiting for things to get a bit better, but hopefully there's some light down the road. Let's see.
I don't know, man. It's a bit ambiguous at the moment. It's a bit give and take, a bit of hit and miss, and I'm not too sure where we're going to kind of go. But I'm hoping by the end of the year we should kind of get back to at least get a holiday
before that, man. Hopefully before that.
Has it affected you quite dearly as well, like in your sort of line of work? Has it really affected your work quite a lot?
Absolutely. I mean, like everybody else, when musicians and stuff traveling around the world, I've been stuck here for, almost close to a year now, since last March. It was no point complaining so much because you have to accept it that you're stuck in a lockdown and you got to make the most of what you got. And that's exactly what I've been trying to do. The good thing is I've been able to put the finishing touches on my music. I've been able to spend some more time at home and see the family more. So there has been some plus points about being locked down, that's for sure, man.
No, it's true. I think it's given a lot of guys, especially people who are in our industry, so the musical industry, that time, because most of the time it's taken up whether you're working with different artists in the studio or whether you're even touring or going to other countries, whether you're traveling between here and India. Your time does get taken up, and I think that also gets neglected. Have you taken up any sort of hobby though during lockdown? You started something new?
I'm doing a lot of cooking, man. I love my cooking. That's my main thing. Obviously my music is always the thing. I'm always on my laptop with my headphones. That's my main thing. But otherwise, any new hobbies? Not really. But I've been enjoying cooking a lot, man. I love cooking. Nice. I've been doing a lot more than before. Because, why not, man? I'm spending more time at home so I can just make the things I like.
What's the signature dish? What's your signature dish?
Everything, man. I love to do my chicken curries, my lamb curries. I love to do my roasts. I do all types of stuff, man. I've been all right. I've been told my food's not bad. So maybe one day you can sample my food. I think you'll be okay. You'll survive.
If I can come down, I'd actually be quite honored if I can come down and have a look at the music collection and then have a nice butter chicken with you.
That's it, man. It's all about the music, man. We can just do some serious vibes and have some nice balti chicken or something,
I see you hear that, guys. You're seeing it, you're hearing it right now. Bally's inviting me around for a chicken curry.
Yeah, and
I'm pretty sure I'm sure everyone's jealous. So, Bally, I know it's been quite a testing time, but you haven't stopped music. You've got music releasing quite regularly. You dropped a massive Valentine's release, which was Kinna Chauna. Gotta say, big tune. Loving the vibe, and all I could hear when I first heard the track was "Pyar Kiya To Nibhana." Am I the only one to say this?
You've obviously got some nice knowledge about the 90s music. That's really cool because some kids don't know the 90s tunes, man, and that's why I think, wow, because there were some massive tunes then in the 90s, man.
Huge.
Great songs, and this comes turbocharged from the 90s and just, catapults into the 21st century, man.
Definitely. So tell me, what inspired you to put a tune like this back out?
Well, this is from the new album, obviously, and it's leaning on those type of vibes, obviously, and because it was close to Valentine's, I thought, rather coming in with some really, out-tempo, really outrageous songs, I thought we'd come up with a nice love song. And hence the video has got a 90s vibe to it as well. It's like a mini movie, and it's been shot on location, so it kind of goes together with the whole package. We spent a lot of time on getting this video done in India, and the song has taken me quite a bit of time to put together. I got a new guy on the mic from Jammu, Vikram, Vicky Marley. So yeah, it's just I made the tune beginning of last year, actually.
Right.
and I knew it was going to come out later on in the year, but because 2020 was such a fantastic year, don't forget it, man. So yeah, wait for the new year, and then I thought, what better than coming towards Valentine's? So yeah, we decided to release this, and then it's done really, really well. I'm really, really glad, and people have been saying, "Wow, it's got a typical Bally Sagoo 90s vibe, man. It's got the whole sound of the 90s," and immediately when you hear it, man. So I mean that's a good sign, because that's what I wanted people to say.
I think that's good that you got the message across. Like for me, like that it hit me, because when I first said it, I was like, okay, cool, pure 90s beat. And then I heard that it was the drum beat for me, because I was like, it's very nostalgic when it comes to Bollywood and that whole Pyar Kiya Tu Nibhana. And for me, then I was like, I was just feeling the vocals. Vicky Marley, fantastic vocalist. Where did you discover this guy?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a surprise, really. He sent me. He was singing the song on a phone to me on a WhatsApp. And he was singing totally different. And I told him, I said, whoa, 1 second. He goes, I just composed this song on my guitar. What do you think of it? And I was like, dude, this is amazing, man. And I'm like, just relax the tempo a bit. And I got an idea that I think it will go on the music that I'm working on at the moment. So I sent him over a couple of beats, and I said, sing it to this tempo. I want it on a mid-tempo. I knew it was going to be on a love vibe. It was going to be on that real mellow, chill out vibe. But I still want the beat to bang, you know what I mean? I still want the thump behind it. So I just told him, I said, send me the vocal. So he went to a studio there nearby. I sent him a beat. He did the vocals, sent me a couple of different takes. And then I just kind of chopped it all up and placed it how I want. And immediately I knew it was going to have that retro sound. I knew it, man. I thought it's not going to be no trap style, or it's not going to be no the vibe, man. It's going to be,
but you know something, Bally, I'll tell you one thing, like right now, I see a lot in the industry at this moment in time, that whole retro kind of vibe is coming back.
That's good, man. I'm really glad, because it's happening in the mainstream. It's happening around the world in like Western music now. And hey, man, I always think that's the best time anyway. I mean, any day of today's music, that 90s, even the 80s, that sound, all those synth sounds and all those warm sort of musical pieces that you always got in those days. I mean, fused with today's, kind of flavor, it can sound great. And you got to remember, there's a lot of kids out there that wasn't there. They weren't there. They didn't know these tunes. They weren't there for that sound. And they've been brought up with what's happening now, say, because I mean, a lot of the kids have been telling me, they go, oh my God, this is really, really retro, old school. For me, it's like what I grew up with, it's the kind of songs that the sound that I love making. And a lot of my songs have got that vibe back in the days. And so I thought, okay, let me go into that 90s vibe. Like the new Bhangra song, man, it's straight from Star Crazy time, It's got that whole element there. It's just been catapulted right now. And that's what I wanted to create, really, because sometimes overcomplicating something, it doesn't work all the time, man. Sometimes simplicity, just simple stuff, it can kind of work. And that's what I always believe in,
Yeah, you're right, man. Like, keeping it simple. And coming back to your other point, like, I quite agree with you. Like, when it comes to that whole 80s, 90s era, there is no era unlike it when it comes to music, films, fashion, and music. I still talk about this with, like, my family, my parents and stuff like that, because that era was especially untouchable, especially here in the UK, across the UK Asian scene. It's what built the foundation, I think, for us. And it gave us that, I think it was like, likes of yourself, who kind of crossed over those mainstream electro beats, break beats, bringing that in, coercing it with what Bhangra music really is. And it kind of generated what the sound we have today, pretty much. So it's all like brought up. And then obviously, I think as time went on, and as albums came from yourself, from like after Star Crazy, then you did a Hanji, and then you had all the other ones that came along after. It was a different sound. Like, you adapted. It's like you kept your core main old school vibe, and then sort of adapted it to how we live now. I think that's the best way I can kind of describe it, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's what I've done. I haven't really, twisted things up too much. I've kind of done the most important thing that's always important to me. It should be what I like. Then hopefully everyone else is going to love it, get into it, and they're going to dig the vibe. Because if you start thinking, well, I'm going to make music for them, man, then that's not really the right thing to do. Anyway, that's my belief. And I've done what I thought was missing in the scene anyway. So when the song comes on the radio, it does stand out because it doesn't sound like everything before and after. But yeah, now at least people can say, hey man, you know, some of these old school vibes are cool, man. And you know, we can do this kind of stuff, or maybe we should collaborate with these kind of you know, rather than saying, let's just do what everyone else is doing and let's do this beat now because this beat, this 808 kicks hard. So we've got to put this on every single song, and you know, because everyone else is doing it. And
Sure.
that's not really the way to go. I don't think so.
Is there like any artist in particular right now you're kind of got your eye on, like, or somebody you yourself as a, you know, musical maestro, a producer, you know, you're saying that's one to watch, that's one, you know, artist that who's popping at the moment?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't pay much attention to what the new scene's about now. That's why I need a bit of lessons now about what is going on, especially in the UK music scene, because I still say there's a big shortage of vocalists, you know, from this part of the world. And that's what we need more of, really, because for me, it's more about good vocalists, good singers, and not so much about producers, because there's a ton of producers now, and there's just not enough singers, vocalists, songwriters even, and rather than obviously looking at abroad, because for me, it's always been about we're the trendsetters here, you know, but that really hasn't been happening for a long time now, really, because a lot more stuff I know is happening abroad, and maybe people have just woke up now and thought, hey man, we can compete and even make better music than the UK, you know, because even Punjab right now, I mean, you know, a lot of the guys I know in Punjab are more into the trendy stuff now. They don't really dig the real hard Desi stuff for some reason. They're really going heavy onto the whole mainstream sound, the whole, you know, R&B vibe, the whole reggaeton vibe. Yeah, the reggaeton hip hop vibe, the boom baton sound. I mean, they've all kind of like thought, hey man, we want to be more mainstream. Whereas I think we've always wanted to keep it more Desi here in UK anyway. We've always embraced it more. I think we've kind of always been proud more of the Punjabi Desi scene more than what India has. They want to be more trendy, I think. And there's some amount of people that like the traditional stuff. But for me, I always prefer the 80s. I prefer the 90s sounds. And I still prefer the Desi traditional music that came from Punjab back in the days, as opposed to now. And maybe it might be a full circle, man. Maybe the guys in Punjab, the producers will start making more Desi tracks rather than try to bang in the big beats and saying, no, man, this is more mainstream, you know, because it's today's market, man. It's the youngsters, isn't it?
And, you know, do you reckon that the market today could actually get back to enjoying music just like what you're saying? So like, you know, the original doll beats, traditional Punjabi lyrics, you know, the sound that you're saying that came and what originated back in the decades of like the 80s and 90s. Do you reckon, like, you know, not most, I'll say people my age and younger, do you reckon they could like relate to it? Do you reckon they could vibe to it, you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, that's happening now. My new song is Bhangra Jawan Hogaya, a typical Punjabi Desi song. Very simple, Bhangra weddings, birthdays, you know, dance halls. And those are simple songs that pretty much last the time. They stand the time. And this song sounds like it's from Star Crazy times. It's got the whole vibe of that sort of era, that sort of zone, and so on. So I think, yeah, of course, definitely. I mean, no one knows what's going to work. No one knows what's going to click in the market. You know, because sometimes the most weirdest thing can happen, and you're thinking, what the hell? So there's certain tracks that do kind of like just stick out, and they're like, you know, they do, you know, stand out. But you can only try, man, you know, and you can only hope that people enjoy it, really. But because there's such a massive market around the world now, we're all kind of connected immediately. You know, immediately you do a track now, it can be seen and heard. And people can get into it. Whether they like it or not is another different story. But obviously, it's more about the youngsters now, really. The older, elder people are not so heavy into, let's check out the latest music or let's check out the latest tune on the radio, because, I mean, it's just one of those things, the music, you know, the whole cycle of the youngsters are coming through and they're inspired by maybe Drake or someone, or they're inspired by somebody on the mainstream or a rapper. And they're like, hey, man, I'm going to rap like him, or I'm going to make a track like this guy, and so on and so on. So their inspiration, our role models are pretty much are their same age. So they're looking at pretty much youngsters that are similar age to them, whereas we didn't have that when we were growing up. We didn't look at other older singers and say, you know, oh, he wasn't my hero, he was my hero. My heroes were all types of age groups, man, and different types of singers and musicians, and that's why we had a different type of upbringing, you know. And today, people sort of look at their role models, and normally the role models are a lot more similar age, you know.
And who would you say it was your role model as, you know, you came in as a producer?
My my role models have always been the same few guys that I've always looked up to growing up, really, from back in the days, really. So because of my background being so heavily black influence, my sound always kind of like comes from that sort of backbone, from the whole, Quincy Jones era, from the whole Teddy Riley, the Jam and Lewis type of thing. And the kind of sounds that inspired me are always those type of stuff and that kind of a sound. I don't really look at today's sound and say, he is the guy that really inspires me so much more now, because I don't really need to pay attention to that now. I think I just do what I've always done, which is like make music my way, my style. And it's always got that old school vibe.
But one thing I always find, especially in like now's era of music, a lot of, not only just in the Asian music industry, I'm talking like, the black music industry and, the mainstream commercial industry, a lot of people are still sampling, they're sampling tracks from original hits. And even in hip hop, I've found it, likes of Drake, there's other people like Kanye West, Jay-Z, they sample jazz records, soul records back from like Quincy Jones and even further back from the 70s and 60s. And they just sample that just a little bit. And then they add a hip hop trap beat to it. And that's it. It goes off as a crazy club banger. And I think it's just remembering that's like kind of coming back to my other point. Like it was a foundational point for us to then take it forward to the next level. Don't you agree?
Yeah, man, definitely. For so, I mean, at least at the end of the day, it's the most important thing is to make something that sounds very nice on the ears. People are enjoying it, loving the vibe. People don't care about the whole technical aspect about what the song was, how it was made, and what the struggle was, or what it wasn't really. It's like pretty much what comes out of their speakers, and it's really important what happens on the radio or on your laptop. That more so now, because that's what people are consuming their songs now. They're hearing them on their phones, on their laptops, and they, if they like it, then that's it. That's what's more important, and that's where you should get your ideas and vibes from. And you should say, wow, man, I've just heard something on the radio that's just inspired me, man. And I want to make something like that, whether it's 70s or whether it's the 50s or something, or, it doesn't need to be like the current top 10, top 20, or your friends are into right now, because that's not really the right thing. I don't believe. I think more so, I think you've got to take chances, man. You've got to try something different. And people are like, are you sure people are going to like all these retro vibes, man? They're only 22 years old, or they're only 25-year-old kids, man. They don't like retro stuff. I'm like, well, who said I'm making it for a 22 or a 25-year-old kid?
Exactly. No, you're right. You're right.
It's for everyone that likes my stuff or wants to hear something different. And that's what it's about. It's like making a dish. When you're cooking something, it's like, you don't say, okay, this is only for them, or this is only for, these people. It's like, hey, man, what do you reckon of this? Does this taste nice? So, that's what it's about. And I think you have to take the chances, and you should not look at what the trend is. That's for sure, man. Why do you want to follow a trend?
Man, that's very inspiring words, man. Honestly, I'm taking from that one all the time. I like to hear it. But as well as that, like, across your catalog of your records that you released across time, what was the one record that you thought, what would
That's
it?
A hard one, man.
I'm asking you. Okay, you can name top 3, top 5, but I'm asking you, like, which record or records were, for you, like, you thought, nah, these are not going to do so well, but actually did so much better than you ever thought.
Well, I mean, one song that I've always sort of thought was like a filler. Not that I would say it was a filler. Was on my album when I did the whole. Remember the Kiddaji track I did, Kiddaji.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be a very simple track, and it's the last track on my album, and are people going to get into it? And I had no idea, and pretty much I made it in like literally a couple of days, simple beat, nothing else. And I was like, it's the last track on my album, hopefully people will like it. And years later, people still start talking about that whole proper Desi, Kiddaji track that I made, and I was like, wow, man, that's like very unusual, because I didn't think anyone would like that track, but it did go down pretty well. And I was like, it was an experiment to see will people like that duet vibe, they like that real hit Desi sort of song. And it's not everyone's cup of tea, man. It's definitely not Bollywood's cup of tea. I know that, but I thought, okay, let me see how it goes. And I go so many places, and people always say, hey, man, you should do some more tracks like that Kiddaji track, man. I'm like, whoa, man, it's a surprise. I didn't expect that. I'm like, I thought you said the normal stuff that people like Mahaja Nachle or something, or the Guru National, which is always the top of the pile from everyone's choice. But I'm like, whoa, when I get random people saying different types of songs, like something uprising from the East, I'm like, whoa, and like Yar Mera Tu and Hanji, that song was such an amazing track, I feel, right? I didn't even realize that years later, people will start, connecting with it because Botala Shrab took the whole, limelight from the whole album, man.
Correct.
And I was like, people sometimes forget there's some other good songs on the album that really didn't have videos because we didn't have music videos for half of our songs, man. We didn't need them, man, because you were judged on the sound of the song. And that's more important.
I even
not
think
the video, the song.
I think there was another track off that album, which is actually one of my favorites as well, and that was Dil Mangda. That's still a big tune, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Still goes down the
man.
street, man.
Well, you listen to some old school stuff, man. That's quite good.
I'm born and raised, man. I'm telling you, I've got the right musical knowledge.
That's nice. That's really cool, man. Yeah, because a lot of the younger generation, they don't play a lot of the old school stuff, really, because to them, they're like, nah, man, that's not really us. Like, we're more into this right now. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's what, if you think, then you really missed out some really good stuff. Like for me, the whole, like the Bindarakiya stuff, the kind of stuff that was happening in the wedding scene when we were DJing back in the 80s. Those are amazing times, man. And most of those songs were all totally different because they were all different singers, different sounds, and live musicians.
Live, yes.
And great compositions. And lyrics are just out of this world. And we had the UK guys like the Heat Up Remis and the Laughs and all that mixed up with the whole Desi stuff coming from India. And that was really a very vibrant, very powerful time, I think, because you were surrounded by so many great songs, left, right, and center, which were not auto-tuned and were not computer generated. They were sounding so much more fresher on the ears, It's like Motown, you know what I mean? For us, that was our Motown stuff. So all that 80s vibe of those Punjabi songs were definitely the Desi Motown, man.
That's crazy, man. That's a great way to describe it, though. But could we see like you sort of collaborating with the likes of Maljeet Singh again? Like maybe bringing back some old school one band stuff, or are we gonna see someone new on the team? I want to see.
Never say never, man. I mean, I'm always up for working with anyone that's can sing and works, sings well. And yeah, of course, you never know, man. I mean, people ask me all the time, would you work with X, Y, and Z people that you worked with them before? I'm like, you never know. Let's put it that way. You never know. Never say never, but you never know.
So tell me, so you got the latest single now, Bhangra Jawan Hogaya. How's it doing? What's the response like?
Well, it's just got releases now, and I'm really, really happy because I wanted a Bhangra song for so many people for so long. It's been a long time since I did Bhangra music. And when I released the Kinna Chauna song, everyone's like, Bally, man, what's happened to the Bhangra, man? We want Bhangra. I'm like, everything's coming in the right sort of way, give me a chance. I'll serve you all these things because the album is coming. So I'm like, one by one. And as you know, Valentine was just there, man. I'm like, okay, this is, you don't want a Bhangra song for Valentine's, man. It's got to be a nice romantic number,
It could be, but it depends on how you want to bring it.
Yeah. I mean, I personally think so. I mean, I think the Kinna Chauna track is more perfect for that kind of occasion, and it's more perfectly suited for that type of a mode as well. And more importantly, I just think everyone needed a different type of a cheering up mood, because everyone's sort of bogged down with the whole lockdown stuff and all that. We all need to just mellow, chill out, relax, and just relax a little bit, and just get our mind of what's going on. And right now, belting out a lot of club tracks are quite difficult because you can't go clubbing, You can't DJ, you can't even get the response. You can't check the sound system in the club. So it's like, it's great making dance music, but you want to hear it, you want to dance to it,
Right.
But having saying that, obviously that's why we got all these things in place. So yeah, I mean, Bhangra Jawan Hogaya has just come out now. I'm glad because I teamed up with Jelly again after so many years. I worked with him back in the days, man. On a Whiskey the Bottle song, and it was great. And when I spoke to him, I said, let's just do a normal, typical old school Punjabi song and keep it very simplified about the two main things in a Bhangra song, man, the Dol and the Tumbi, man. And so let's just keep it very dance floor. He goes, Paji, tusi ta bas apna kam kar liyo, main bas mera kam kar lunda. And so he just sang it on the phone. I'm like, yes, I like that. Change a few lines there. And then I'm like, cool, man, simplicity done. And so yeah, I mean, it was just and I told him this is off my album, and he was so excited. He goes, "Wow, man, I'm so glad that I'm gonna be on the album." I'm like, "Yeah, for sure, man. People are, looking forward to us working again some point, I'm like, and this is perfect now." So yeah, and a typical Desi video, Desi song, and it's off the album, and the whole album is not Bhangra, but yeah, there's this Bhangra on there. So I've got to mix up all the vibes. It's not going to be another Hanji or something, or a Star Crazy where every song is just Bhangra song, because I've made all types of tracks on the album. But musically, sound-wise, there's all different vibes on there, man. There's some reggae, man. I mean, I've got all types of vibes. I've got some dancey vibes. I've got some nice, the ballad vibes. hopefully something for everyone, man.
Brilliant. And who else can we see being featured on your album? And when is it looking to release?
Well, I'm not going to say that right now, but you'll have to wait and see.
I thought I'd get a little bit of an exclusive.
You'll have to wait and see, man. But the album's coming, literally, it's just round the corner, man. It's ready.
Come on, Bally, give me a date, man. Come on, we got to know. It's highly anticipated. You can't just leave me hanging, man.
There's some treats on there.
Okay. There's some treats. That's all I needed to know. I'm hoping I've already hit some buttons there somewhere with a few artists, few names.
I think there's something there for everyone, man. That's my main thing. But I'm just, I can't wait for you guys to get it. And obviously, I'm looking forward to everyone just, enjoying it and telling me what they feel, which track they like, because some people like Bhangra, some people like the whole. I personally, I always love my mid tempos. I always like my sort of epic ballads and all that kind of stuff because I love producing them. One of the tracks I think is turned out amazingly from a singer from Punjab. But yeah,
almost.
Good stuff on
Come on, bro. You wanted to spill it, man. Tell me.
Yeah, I know, man. I just nearly did that. I was like, what? Oh, rewind, select.
That's it. So it's good, man. I'm liking it. Like, you're bringing a good energy. How many tracks are we looking to expect from the album?
There's quite a few tracks on the album, man. There's enough because I put out a little sort of a questionnaire before. Now I'm asking everyone, like, what's a good number of tracks to have on an album? They want like 10 tracks, 12 tracks, you know what I mean? One guy said 37 tracks. I'm like, yeah, right, that's a good album, isn't it? 37 tracks. So, I mean, there's a good number of songs on there. And as I said, I think I've got something for everyone covered on there. So if you're like, I like this kind of vibe, I like this kind of vibe, I like this kind of vibe, I've kind of like worked on that, In fact, I've made so many songs that couldn't get them all on there because the most important thing is getting albums made today is something, and I wish we got more albums coming through. And I think that's going to happen now. People are going to spend more time and polish albums and get them out, really. It's not about getting overnight fame and, man, just get the single out and saying, right, that will keep me going for 1 year, man. That's not really the right thing. So I don't believe in that way. I think, definitely we should get more albums out. And I have enough material for a couple of albums anyway. So, yeah, for sure. I think that's something I'm excited about, really, because I think, more and more people are saying, yeah, it's a good idea. We should do an album. It might take longer, but it's the right way to go forward, I think. And there's nothing wrong with having a single off the album, same as the mainstream, same as every other music industry around the world. So like taken from the forthcoming album is perfectly fine, so that's pretty cool to do, I think. But it's the ones that don't do albums and just do a single, I don't believe in that.
No, that's fair play, man. You're a very big legend in the game, man. You know your stuff. So, it's coming from somewhere meaningful or someone with who's lived through it and experienced it firsthand. So it's great to hear that, man. But
almost Bally, 4 decades, man.
Smashing it, man. 4 decades, bro. Really?
Yeah, man. Since the 80s, bro. So I mean, if I go back even before that to my school days, yeah, man. But definitely from the 80s, bro. I was DJing in what, 77?
77.
Yeah, man.
What was your first gig?
I was 13. I was 13. I was at school. I was doing it at school. Saturday Night Fever, man. That was when I started like, whoa, man, this is my life.
BG.
Double album. Yeah, man. That sound and the whole vibe. I mean, my record collection, all them tunes there, all the mixes, the remixes, the underground mixes from America, and you hear those tunes today, your head just kind of thinks, whoa, man, what kind of sound is this? It's such a breath of fresh air.
But one thing, from DJ to DJ, I want to ask you something. Did you use and actually scratch all your own samples for all your records?
Some of them, not all of them, because there was a lot of sample albums. There was all these loop CDs. There was not CDs, more records. So yeah, it was a mixture of both.
It's just not the same though these days, is it? It's like everything's digitalized, nothing's original, analog.
No, I mean, that's always my complaint. Yeah, there's nothing like putting the needle on the record and just listen to the song and just listening and then thinking, whoa. And the whole sound is obviously a lot different. In fact, that's how the producer wants you to hear the music. He doesn't want you to hear the actual digital format, like an MP3 or some download version of it. In fact, that's the worst way. It's always better to hear the original soundtrack on an album or vinyl. Obviously, the next thing would be the CD format, but definitely not like, the whole downloaded, rinsed out version being passed along. And then you don't know how it's sounding and how bad the low quality is, so yeah. Some people have never even played a record, man. There's people are like, I've never played a record. I'm like, you got to play a record and hear it, man.
Yeah, man. I got my 1210s here somewhere. I think I got a Star Crazy album somewhere around here as well.
Wow, man. Yeah. And you see, if you play that now, And you play the CD.
If you wait there for 1 second, I will pull out my vinyl right now if you're happy for me to do that.
Yeah, man.
I'll approve this to you. Bally, right here, I'll approve it to you. Wait there.
Oh my God.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, bro, you found it?
Right, we got Wham Bam 2.
Oh, wow, man.
We got that right there for you, Wham Bam 2.
I pressed this and it explodes onto the wall, man. I remember that, man. I pressed this and it explodes.
And then we got Essential Ragga.
Oh man. Sick.
Original, man. This is how much of a collection I have, man.
Yeah, dude.
See, guys, this is really cool. A vinyl, original vinyl, man.
Yeah, man. Good thing is they're not bootlegs, they're originals, because you don't get bootleg vinyls, man. They're proper, man. So it's cool.
Nobody does that. I got Star Crazy somewhere, but I have to dig it out. I got so many. This is what I've grown up. Man. This is what I've grown up listening to, man. This is what I've come up and understanding what exactly the industry is all about. And it's very hard to come by because on this day and age, everyone's got one rhythm, one beat, one style. No one's willing to change the game.
Well, I mean, that's always been my kind of a thing, really. I mean, everyone kind of like does what everyone likes, and if everyone likes one thing, they're like, let's do that. And that's not really what you should do. But it's like, I do what I do, man, and obviously I've kind of like mixed it all up. And that's what I've always done. I always mix up all the vibes, man. And I don't look at one audience, I don't just think Bhangra is everything or Bollywood is everything or this is everything or that's everything. It's like music worldwide, man. It should be vibes of all types of different cultures and combinations. That's why I've done Japanese, I've done all these Arabic tracks, and I'm always like experimenting always, and I don't understand these languages like the South in India, there's some great Tamil songs, man, and I'm like, whoa, man, if you listen to some of these Tamil tracks, they sound amazing, Telugu ones, and I'm like, I don't understand what they're saying, man, but this sounds amazing. And isn't that what music should be about?
Music hasn't got any language, nor has it got any barriers, and it's about whatever you vibe to, man. But Bally, you know what? I just want to say thank you very much for taking, some time out of your very busy schedule. I know you're recording, and I know you've been busy up in the studio cooking up the rest of your album. But I'm very much looking forward to the release, and I'm sure all our listeners here and all our viewers are really looking forward to the release of the album. But do you have any last messages for our listeners and our viewers out there?
Yeah, as usual, man. Always thanks for all the support. Do go out and check out the new one, Bhangra Jawan Hogaya, on Fresh Dope Records YouTube channel, and the album. It's over there. It's coming. It's just there. So yeah, on its way.
I want an exclusive on this one.
Done.
Perfect. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. The man, the myth, the legend. He's really here in real life on Zoom. Of course, that's how we're doing things these days. I just want to say a massive thank you going out to Bally Sagoo, legendary producer, and who's actually now back with 2 massive tunes on the scene, on the circuit right now. Kinna Chauna, his big romantic number, and now Bhangra Jawan Hogaya, which is the big Desi dancehall number that hopefully will, when weddings resume, we'll be able to play it once again at all the big parties.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you very much, Bally. Thank you very much once again, man. Big up to you. And of course, stay safe in the way we're currently living. And I hopefully get to see you soon.
Thank you guys so much. Take care.
Thank you.